Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stateside Street, where two Americans and a Scot talk about all things British soaps. I'm Amelia,
I'm Shiniko.
I'm Julia.
and today we are sitting down with the sweetheart of the street, the one and only Sydney Martin.
Oh, well, that
Thank
was
you,
a very
Sydney.
intro. Thank you.
Um, you all may know Sydney as the one and only Betsy Swain on Corrie, the gobby, feisty daughter of Lisa Swain, and the just lovely, lovely, lovely actor that we have sitting in front of us.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so Sydney, we have a few icebreaker questions, rapid fire, if you're good
Amazing.
with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay, your first one song, if you had to pick to describe Betsy.
McFly. I think it's five colours in her hair. Because she's got the colours. It's like she's got a lip ring and five colours in her hair.
Yes.
Oh, I
Always
love that.
been.
Dude, that's so
I
her.
love
That is
that.
so
Yeah,
her.
it's my Betsy song.
Is that how you get into character?
Yeah, I love it. I used to always listen to that, and then I do love Teenage Dirtbag. I feel like that's a good option.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's right on point.
But yeah,
Yeah.
McFly, that was always my Betsy song because she's got a little blue and pink streaks in
Oh,
her.
I love that. Are those like clip? That's like one of my questions. Are those like clip-ins?
Yeah, so they're just like originally they wanted to dye like my full hair pink, and I was like, I spent so long trying to go blonde. I it'd been really
Because you're naturally
cool.
brunette, right?
Yeah, it's like really, really dark. Yeah, I that was the original plan, and I think for continuity, it's hard to keep up with pink. So I have my little clip-ins that I get every morning.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. If Betsy could be a part of any other soap family, aka like the Dingles in Emmerdale, the Osbournes in Hollyoaks, um, what family would you put her in?
Do you know what? Since you're letting me do other soaps, selfishly, my best friend is in Hollyoaks, so I think I'd maybe make her an Osborne. And
I told them, I said she's gonna go with Isabel.
absolutely, I would.
Oh, I
I
love it.
adore her, and if I could be in a project with her together, I'd love that. So yeah, I think selfishly, I would go for the Osbornes and Hollyoaks.
Well, that'd be great. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
It would be very good.
Okay. Now, if she was a part of any other family in Corey, where would you put her?
I do think she's a Swain through and through. However, I do think she's a bit of a mini Carla sometimes, so I'd probably put her with the Connors.
You right in.
Yeah, I
She would.
So I think she's got their nature and their kind of core values. I think, yeah, I think I'd put her with the Connors.
Okay, the most important question. Is it Swain Connors or Connor Swains?
It's the Connor Swains.
No,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Team
Yeah.
Swing Connor is outnumbered. We are decreasing in numbers.
Yeah, well, I can assure you it's the Connor Swains because on our new set it says the Connor Swains.
You heard it here first, folks.
Oh my gosh.
It's the
Oh, I love that.
so
Wait, that's
That's
cute.
so cute.
That's cute.
Okay. Now, this question, I'll tell you who it comes from after I ask it. Who is your favorite director? And this comes from Mr. Jordan Hogg.
I absolutely adore Jordan. He's actually in at the moment, so I've been working with him this week. And I worked with him on another block since because he originally just come in for the Mason episode, the kind of the nice storyline. He came in for that, and he is just absolutely incredible. I think there's a lot of misconception with soap is that it's really rigorous. It's fast. It's not like filming a drama. You know, you could be doing 10 scenes in a day, 5 days a week, 13 hours a day. And for someone to come in and make you feel comfortable in an environment that's it's pretty hectic. Everyone's lovely there and that they'll look after you, but it's a keep swimming environment. And he took the time to get to know everyone, especially in that episode, because you've got four young actors. Luca, Liam, they're all Liam's 18, maybe was 17 at the time. And you've got young actors here who to give them such a comfortable environment and just let them flourish and trust them, but also have so much trust in him. He was so easy to trust, and he's always watching. He gives the best notes. He's just fantastic, and we're so incredibly lucky to have him at Corrie, because he should be in Hollywood, because he's just fantastic. And that episode, the Mason episode, was just incredible. And obviously that was down to the full crew, to the full team, but it's special mention for him in that.
Yeah, it was an incredible episode. One of my personal favorites. Honestly, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
You guys were absolutely brilliant in that episode.
it's
Amazing.
Yeah.
you're as good as you scene partners and the
Mhm.
people around you, and we couldn't have had a better team for that. And yeah, he's just incredible, and he's just such a lovely human being at the core of it as well, which I think makes the most difference. You can be good at your job, but to be a genuine nice human being as well, it just tops it off.
Yeah, whenever we interviewed Jordan, he was just full of praise for you. And now that we get to talk to you, it's just amazing.
How much have you changed as an actor? Like, what have you learned since taking on the role of Betsy?
Being on Coronation Street, like I was saying before, it's such a different environment. It's kind of this beautiful whirlwind, and it's like I said, you kind of and I only found out on the Friday, and I was starting on the Monday, so it really was, there's the deep end, see if you can swim, literally. Do you know what my biggest thing that I'd like to think I've come on, so I've been there since last April. I'd like to think I've come on, or I think so much since I started. It's just to be kinder to myself, I think, is the biggest thing I learned. And the biggest thing I learned as an actor. There's so many technical things. There's so many, I go to my acting lessons, and I learn so much there, and I learn so much in work. But just actually to stop being a perfectionist and let things go a little bit and enjoy it, because at the end of the day, it's just that little kid that loved acting. And that was kind of the biggest thing that I've learned in that environment, because you're filming so fast and it's so dialogue heavy. There's so much we have to learn. A lot of it has to be instinct. You're with these characters day in, day out. Them. You've got to rely on your instincts. And when you're doing 10, 11, 12 scenes in a day, you're not always going to hit the nail on the head. If you're filming a drama, you might do 4 or 5 pages a day, a couple of scenes a day, and maybe the hours are longer. You've got that time to rehearse, to do everything. In that environment, you don't. So it's entirely instinct based. Sometimes you'll have no idea how a scene is going to be. If it's an actor I've never worked with, the first time I worked with Ali, I thought the scene was going to be quite calm. Connor's not calm. Connor's not calm. So it was completely different. And it's just about listening and just being in the moment, because at the end of the day, you're playing a human. You can't pre-plan things. You can't be this perfectionist. You can't, and that's what makes acting so beautiful, is that people are imperfect. This isn't going to be a perfect performance. It's not a performance. It's just being human. And I think since I've been there, just actually being kind to myself and enjoying it and having fun. I think watching someone have fun, whether it's a fun scene or not, watching someone that's enjoying themselves, you can tell when an actor's enjoying themselves. And I think that's what I've probably learned the most there, is to just be kind and stop stressing and just be nice to yourself.
No, yeah, I definitely get that. It's important to be present. And actually, I was just thinking about like how we talk about like your process as an actor, or just in general process of acting. And it's a little bit, I would expect that it would be a bit challenging to like find what your process is in soaps versus dramas, because it's so quick and ever changing. Um, so to me, it just seems very interesting how that kind of shifts,
It's
as an acting. Yeah.
it's a complete genre in itself. Films, drama, soaps, TV, they're all different. And this is why I still like to train and I still like to go to my classes, because this genre is very unique in itself. It's very different to other things. So I like to go and do other things in my classes and learn. Soap is quite dialogue heavy. It has to be. It's telling a story, a continuous story that's on 3 times a week. It has to have all that dialogue to keep the story running. But yeah, it is. It's a very unique process in itself. I feel like it's like when you learn to drive a car, like learning lines on a soap. That was my biggest fear. I was like, oh my God, how did these people learn all these lines? But it really is this muscle that just like I could probably learn a scene in about a minute now. And it's like this muscle, and it's great, yeah, it's so much fun. There's nowhere else that you could act every day. There isn't really a job that entails that. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Very
great work. I mean, I always say like theater and soap are, if you want to learn how to act and act right, theater and soap, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is the two mediums. Yeah,
Yeah, massively. It's a big training ground.
100%.
Hey, Sydney, I have a question.
Oh,
Who's back?
Yes, this is Lola. And we were wondering if she can be the long lost Swain cat.
please.
Lola, do you want to say hi to Sydney?
Hello, baby. I love her. I'd love a Swain cat. I try, I beg. I do. I do. I don't think I'm winning that
I
battle.
I also have, I don't know where the dog
It's Emmy
is, but
here.
Well,
I will go get Emmy.
oh,
I feel like
I want to see the dog. Yes, please. We worked with Roy has Freddie, and Freddie was in one of our scenes the other day, and I was like, oh my God, life made. Dog in a scene, yes, please.
Yeah, we need petition to get Swain Cat
Yeah.
and Corey. So,
Emmy's sleeping, but I will show you a picture of her.
Oh, yeah, don't disturb, leave her to sleep. She needs her beauty nap.
I mean, she literally laid in bed with me all night.
These
Oh,
are
I hope.
everything. We love Emmy.
Oh, look at her. Oh, she's gorgeous. I just love animals.
She has a little underbite and she's
Oh,
adorable.
I've been telling Amelia that I'm going to come to West Virginia and steal Emmy because she's perfect.
yeah,
She's absolutely perfect.
yes. Can we steal her for the show? Can we have
Yes.
both? Both and
Yes, yes. You hear that, Emmy? You're gonna go on Corey.
Freddie.
It's a sign.
Yeah.
So, Sydney, once you receive a new script, right? How much goes into like what's on the page versus like what you're bringing to the table as far as like your prep work that you've done for Betsy, like your character's timeline, or any type of past history that you've done?
Yeah, so kind of like I said, in this environment, because it is so quick, you know your character, you're playing this character day in, day out. You do your prep work. We get scripts 2 weeks in advance. We'll still be doing scripts while we get those scripts. So I don't learn them that far in advance just because purely I think my brain would explode. But I'll read it, I'll see where the story's going. And then kind of on a Sunday evening for the week, I'll learn my lines or whenever I can. And then it is, you do your prep, you know what your character's like, you know how your character would react. And then it's kind of mainly instinct on set. You don't want to pre-plan too many things. You can't plan how a scene's going to go because you have no idea how the other person's going to play it. In that environment, and in most acting environments, you've just got to listen. You've got to know, right, okay, what timeline, you've got to know that because the film's so out of order. You've got to know, right, okay, what headspace is my character, and you've got to know kind of the logistics of a scene and kind of maybe where in their emotional timeline they are. But as soon as you've kind of got like the things that are like objectively important, it's all about just listening. And you're not trying to show something. If you've done your homework and it's all there. It's just about trusting yourself and just letting that happen. But yeah, it is mainly in that environment. Instincts, we spend so much time with them that we know them inside and out. And you do your homework at home, and you can't carry that onto set, or else you just explode because you're thinking too much. I need to move like this. I need to move like. no, just it's free flowing. That was one thing that I really had to get used to there. It's just grounding myself before a scene, thinking, right, where would Betsy be sat? Would she be slobbed on the sofa? Okay, I'm gonna sit here, and then just go with that and see what happens. You get a brief amount of, you'll have stage directions. The director might have a certain vision for a scene, but most of the time they kind of let you play with it, and your characters' quirks, what they do in scenes, little things that you may have added. And they kind of just get the chance to shine. And if a director wants something slightly different, then you do that. But it's purely just trusting yourself and knowing that if you've done your homework, you don't need to think too much on the day, because it's just about being present, like you said.
So one more question from me. Obviously, we are getting into Carla possibly being engaged. Betsy has found like a found family, I guess you can say, with Carla and Ryan. So I'm kind of wondering if you can kind of talk more on if we'll have more mom, daughter, or brother, sister sort of vibe in scenes in the future between Betsy and Ryan and Betsy and Carla.
Yeah, so with Betsy and Ryan, I love him, and I was so happy because in the beginning we really didn't have that much together, and we used to talk so much in the green room outside of acting, and we genuinely are like brother and sister real life. I could sit there and talk to him for hours, and we were always like, oh, we really want to go up to the writers, we really want to tell them, like, please, we'd love some scenes together, and we never ended up doing it, but they ended up putting us together anyway. And there's some real good stuff coming up together. I'm so glad he's moved into the household with us, because we have such a nice sibling chemistry between us, and there's a bit of fun coming up. There's, when me and Ryan in real life just love having fun, so if we can bring that into a scene, we will. But there's also some really beautiful, thoughtful scenes coming up that I really think people are going to enjoy, and it shows a different side to both of them, really. They're this blended family, and it's so gorgeous to see that. And then with Betty and Carla, obviously we've seen their relationship change so drastically since the beginning. I think it's such a unique thing to play. I was 16. Well, Betty was 16 when first come to Coronation Street, and to have someone step into your life at that age, you kind of mid late teens, it's a hard one, and it's a really interesting one to play, just because of that you're not really a child. You are technically a child, but you're not really a child. So for her to come and kind of step into this like stepmom role, it is so interesting, and I think it's been so nice. I've had so many nice people message me such lovely messages. How it's not beautiful all the time. It's fragmented, and it's for someone to step into a motherly role who isn't hasn't been there all your life. It's hard to find that she still wants to be a motherly figure. She still wants to try and lead Betsy onto the right path. There's still going to be that clashes, but that's what makes it so beautiful, is that it's so real and it's so raw. And yeah, I think in the new household we have so much of that, and I got to work with Ali a little bit more one-on-one, which I just adore working with her. She's so much fun. We add lines all the time and get in trouble for it, but that's okay. It's such both of those dynamics is so gorgeous, and I think it all comes down to this like blended family thing, and that's the real world. There's so many blended families in the world, and I think it's nice to have that on the street. So I love it, and I can promise there's some really good stuff coming up, and stuff that we really got to stick our teeth into, and it's all a credit to the writers, because there's some really gorgeous stuff coming up.
You guys are playing it very authentically. It's definitely shown. So
It's just amazing, seriously.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna go into like the funny bits. Do you have a favorite blooper on set? Like, what's like maybe one line that you like flubbed, or did you trip over this set piece? Did you make Allie and Vicky corpse, or
I'm still traumatized from this day. So it was me and Kate. We were filming where we stole Preston's Petals fan. And yeah, and so I obviously have my arm in a cast, and I'd had it in the cast at this point, I think, for maybe coming up for 2 months. Like, I was used to just having the one arm. Well, so you'd think at this point. So we're in this tiny, it's like this tiny little Volkswagen, and me and Kate are only small, so there's no way to, you just have to climb over the front seats. There's no pulling the seat down. And we'd done a shot, and it was like reset, reset. And I'm climbing back over the seat, and I go to fall, and I go to use my arm that I didn't have. So then fell. The door opened of the van. I popped all the balloons, which they didn't have doubles of, and we'd already shot continuity. And yeah, and the whole cast saw it. Well, the whole crew saw it.
Awesome.
And I just froze, and there was a balloon between my legs, and it was like, "Don't pop that one. We don't have another heart-shaped balloon." I was like,
Oh, that's great.
Kate was in stitches. I was just covered in petals because there was like rose petals everywhere. So I think that was probably, I fall over all the time though, so I feel like it's actually not that uncommon for me. But that was the most dramatic because I'd made all these loud bangs of all the balloons and everything. And
What did your TV mamas have to say about that?
they missed it. They weren't on with me, so they missed all the good fun. I know.
Did you tell them?
Yeah, of course I told them, but just also it's me, and I always am doing something weird. So like,
So
they're
funny.
probably not that shocked by it.
Funny. Oh my goodness.
No, Shanika can attest to this. I'm the clumsy one out of us three
Yes.
co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every day I have like a new bruise, a new scratch or something. So
Not
it's
like
just really funny.
I keep a tally of
Yeah.
every time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're at like maybe 200 at this point.
Body. It's just because we're just so so go
Yeah.
that like you like body can't move as fast as your brain's thinking, and it's yeah,
Exactly. See, Sydney
I'm
understands.
justifying it.
Okay, so working with Vicky and Allie must be a dream come true. Like you have been blessed with two of the best on-screen mamas. Um, so this is like a two-parter. Who is the biggest goofball out of the three of you? And what is one piece of advice that you've learned specifically from Allie and one that you've learned specifically from Vicky?
Okay. Goofball. So I will disappoint slightly. We're pros, we're professionals at this, so we're quite well behaved, to be fair, to everyone. But I think most likely Ali's most likely to add a funny line in the end of a scene. I think there was a scene where I spilt olive oil on the carpet. I don't know if you remember that. And she that thick shag line was not a line. She added that, and we were like, "That's definitely not being kept in. Like, that's not gonna get kept in."
I bet whenever you stormed off, I bet your jaw was on the floor. You're like,
Yeah. I'm so used to her adding, like, I love it though, because I love to have a bit of fun and play with it. So I genuinely am always curious what's going to come out of her mouth at the end of the scene. But I love that because it makes it so real. So I'd probably say she's most likely to add like a funny line. I think most of the time Vicky's probably most likely to crack. Sometimes just the way I'll say a line and I can see her in the corner go, and I'm like, she just finds some of the things I do funny. It won't even be funny what I've done, but it'll just be the way I say a line or some sarcastic thing. And I can see her like trying to hold in a laugh. But yeah, I'd probably go with I don't think I answered the question there, but that's kind of answer. And then something I've learned individually from both of them. So we'll start with Ali. I feel like the most just to have fun. I think that's kind of, she's very free flowing. She's just such an incredible actress. She's so real and she's so raw, and just being present. I think that mainly has come from her, and just not worrying too much. Like, you know, we work hard, and you're allowed to enjoy it. You've done the work at home. We love to act, just enjoy it when you're there. And then also she taught me so much, like the technical side. So when I first started, because like lighting, marks, straight over my head, she was kind of like my biggest saving grace. And then Vicky Oh, I love it. Do you know what? We sit there and we have so many little therapy sessions, and I'm so grateful for her. I just having her in this crazy world. She is like my buoyancy aid and like the waves. Um, so I don't think I could put into kind of one what I've learned from her. I think, you know, to have that motherly figure um in the whirlwind that is, you know, because I really am just some girl that came from nothing. I didn't even know acting was a career. You know, you never think you're gonna, as a working class human, you never know that you're gonna be able to come into that world. And she's from the exact same background where we've kind of grown up with nothing, and to come into this, it's daunting. So she's taught me so much, and again taught me to be kind to myself, and she's my biggest cheerleader, because you can have days where you think, oh my god, I can't do this, like I can't, you know, you get all these negative thoughts, and you doubt yourself, and she will always pick me up. You know, I had a really tough day back in January with all the Mason had come out, and it was obviously great, and there was such a big reaction, but it kind of got me second guessing myself. I was kind of like, I don't know, like, if I'm good enough to do this. And she was like, right, come on. And she picked me right up, and she's just my biggest cheerleader, and I couldn't do it without her at all.
We know now, like it's come out that Eva Price is coming
Yes,
with like little Susie and
I know.
her other family. How do you think Betsy is gonna get along with Eva whenever if they were to meet?
One, I was so starstruck. I met her for the first time,
I don't blame you.
and I was very, very starstruck. Kat, who plays Eva, is so lovely. She's so down to earth. Like, she just seems like such a gorgeous human being, and she's obviously such this like iconic character. And I think she's such like a well-rounded Corrie character. She can do the emotional, she can do the comedy, she can do the. I think Betty would have a lot of respect for her. I think there's a lot of similar character traits there. And I mean, I might crumble. I think I'd be quite starstruck to work directly with her. But yeah, I think she's, you know, I give her all the praise, because she really has created this such well-rounded character in this world. So yeah.
We've said, oh, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I was quite surprised that Pauline is coming as well
Yeah,
on Corey. I'm just like, that's amazing
their
casting.
little family dynamic that they are.
Hmm.
I've seen little sneak. It's great.
Mhm.
Can't say much,
We
but it's really entertaining, and it's very classic Corrie, and I think people will really love it.
I was going to say, we're excited. We're really excited.
we also I would just like to I would like for Sydney to know this. On our first episode, it was a Q&A, and one of our audience questions was, what's one character that you would love to see like make a return? And I said Eva, and then 2 days later it got announced. And
You
if you've watched,
manifested it. You
well, if
manifested
you've watched our episodes, I'm known as
manifested
the
it.
prediction queen because I'm so sorry. I predicted Betsy getting shot. I'm so sorry. It's my
So
fault.
So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
your
so
fault.
sorry.
It's your fault, is what you're
I'm
saying.
so
Okay.
sorry. I'm
Blame
so
you.
sorry.
reason I fell over in my scene.
Now listen. Now that wasn't me. That we'll blame that one on Kate.
Okay,
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
Amelia.
that.
enough.
It's a big manifestation today as well. So you need to write down, it's a big day today. So write down everything you want in the next year. That's your little reminder. Until
Ooh.
the end of the day, put that on your to-do list, that you need to write down what you want from the next year.
Okay, I'm going to do
I
that.
will be sending all of these to you,
I
Sydney.
swear, if you write Betty gets shot again, I may come and find you.
Am
Okay, and
am
we'll
I
just hang out
remembering
in West
correctly?
Virginia.
You do tarot cards as well, Sydney?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have a tarot card. I've got my crystal shelf here. I've got
Oh,
crystals
nice.
everywhere. I love it. I think I kind of, in the acting mode, it's so crazy, and you don't know what's going to happen. You get so many no's. It's not kind of like, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm whatever. So it was something to kind of believe in, and I love that. And just everything happens for a reason. And yeah, that's kind of how I fell into it all. I've got my little rose quartz. I always have rose quartz on.
We
Oh, I
will.
love that.
I'd love to take you crystal shopping. I'm on a crystal
Yay.
ban now, because like it's getting to the point where like they're all recognizing me in the shops. Like
Stop
there's
it.
so many crystals.
You're a regular. You're officially
Yeah,
a regular.
I'm a crystal regular. So I'm on a crystal ban for a little bit, but of course I would love that. I'd love nothing more.
We love that. So, I've got a few questions here as well, Sydney. So the first is we've got a lot of people like who listen, and some of us ourselves, we would love to get into acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's one piece of advice that you would give to aspiring actors?
This is a hard one, and it's a question I get asked a lot, and I really wish there was kind of like a golden rule, like a golden path, but that isn't, and it's pretty tricky, and it's a tricky industry. But the biggest thing I've learned is practice your craft.
Okay.
You know, if that's doing self tapes at home, if that's doing monologues at home, you know, if you can afford it, go into lessons, amateur theatre groups, like work on your craft and keep that spark alive, keep the enjoyment alive, because you've got to love it, because it is tough, and you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. You know, there's been people in my life that told me I wouldn't get anywhere, and you've got to use that as fuel and prove them wrong. But then there'll also be people that love you and take that in and take the praise, but also work hard. I kind of I did on my TikTok kind of my story,
Yes.
but every actor has a different story. You know, some people have more silver spoons in this world. Some people come into the industry with nothing. I had nothing, and I managed to get where I am. And it's whether that be it can be luck and it can be timing. But I think if you work hard and you are just a kind human being, you know, that makes such a big difference. Being polite, being able to hold an interview, and then, you know, if you can be a grafter on top of that, and be really hard working at what you do, it makes you stand out, and someone will see that in you. Not everyone, and that's so fine. Some people hate what I do, and you are so valid for your opinion. It's such a subjective craft, and just accepting that and letting things go, and rejection is just redirection.
Absolutely. That's such a good way to look at things. It's not a lot of, you know, especially taking the negativity kind of and using it as fuel. It's not something that a lot of people would think to
No, and
do.
it's something I had to quickly learn on this show, because there's always, when you put yourself in the spotlight, there's always going to be people that have their say, and they have the right to their opinions, and if they, you know, they want to post about it, they have the right to do that. But it's just about taking it with, you know, they're not the be all and end all, just like what I do is not the be all and end all.
Yeah.
And running with it, I've always been that. I've always, since like I got told that I would fail geography, and I was like, I'm not going to fail geography, watch me. And I got a B, and I was like, have
Look
that.
at you
Do you know, like, that's what it is. It's just that actually is my biggest fuel. So when people hate on me, I'm like, okay, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah,
And
that's just what you've got to do.
you've
Like,
got, there's nothing better than doing that, because it's killing them with kindness, and it's showing them, actually, yeah, I can do this.
well, exactly.
Having that confidence within yourself. There's only one of you. There's not multiple of you. So run with you and
So
be
true. So true. That's great advice. So true. I'm putting that.
I
We're
love
getting
that.
that like on an inspiration, on like a background as an inspiration. Betsy is she's such a deep character, such a complex young person who at such a young age has been put through a lot, like more than a lot of, you know, a lot more than a lot of teenagers have been put through. So how has playing Betsy made you rethink how grief and trauma show up in young people?
I think I had a lot of conversations about this initially with Vicky when we first started. Betty would have been 13 when Becky died. That's incredibly young, and that's slap bang in the middle of your like development years. I mean, as an actor, you've got to lean into yourself a lot. You know, I was young and suffered with grief. So one, you've got to use that. You know, grief isn't linear; it's on a spectrum. So it's been really interesting to kind of find her emotional journey with it. And like I said, it isn't linear. So some days you may be absolutely fine, and some days it may feel like the world's kind of sitting on your shoulders.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the conversations I had in the beginning was that, because it was during these such vital years of growing up, is that sometimes she acts a little bit younger. Sometimes she's too mature for her age. Sometimes it's kind of this roller coaster
Mhm.
of it's not just one thing. It's not just playing crying, or it's not just playing this. It's not. It can come out in so many different forms. And we've got great directors that, if we have the time, sometimes directors reach out to me before, and we can have chats, if possible, about where would she be, where finding that headspace. And yeah, it's been great, because it's been nice to represent that it doesn't. Some people cope with humor, some people cope with, there's so many different ways. And it's so interesting because Lisa deals with grief. She kind of has it's so interesting because she plays two characters practically. She's DS Swain, and she's mum, um, and then she's also Lisa Swain as well, also three. But seeing how Vicky does it, and I watched some of Vicky's work before I started, their little quirks and kind of things that she does, and it's been this whole like whirlwind of different things. But yeah, I think the main thing is that it's a spectrum, and it doesn't have to be one thing. And I think that's what's so real about it. And I think you can lean on yourself and lean into. I did a lot of research about that age group and how your brain's developing, and things that she'd have missed out on, and maybe in some social environment she's not fully developed, and doesn't social cues, doesn't know certain things, because your brain is kind of so fragmented. It's such a traumatic thing at such a young age. And I know I see a lot of people comment that she's this, that, and the other, but she's Betsy, and she's just a product of her environment. So yeah.
Exactly. And I think you do, like personally, I think you do. We've been, 16, 17, playing such a deep character. I think you do such a good job of that. And like
Yeah.
I've got a little sister myself. Shout out Sophie. I'm her biggest fan. She is and she is she's 17, and I see her, and I honestly, she is so much like Betsy, like
Really.
in a lot of ways. And so I just think sometimes when I'm watching Corrie, I'm like, that's actually terrifying how like good you are at getting into that kind of headspace. Like, I think you do it phenomenally.
Thank you, because I was concerned at first, because there's quite a big age gap, and it's like it is a different generation now. Like, I'm
It is.
24 this year. I was like, oh my God, am I down with the kids enough? So
You absolutely are. You absolutely are.
Yeah.
Knowing my little sister and knowing all my little sister's friends, like you really represent that. Like you were so good. Like if we didn't know better, we would think you were like 16, 17 yourself with the way that
I realized how
but
old you were. You're 1 year younger than me.
I
I'm
know a lot of
25.
people can't believe that. Sometimes I just want to buy my paracetamol, and I can't. And I'm like, I promise I'm a lot older.
yeah, like curse you think 25 policy.
I know. I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna carry my ID around for like the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But I'll take it. I will take it.
No, absolutely. Another thing, so Corey has hinted that Becky might not have been as clean as she's appeared. How do you think Betsy's kind of processing that, like in terms of how it would affect her relationship with Lisa moving forward? Does it put things into perspective with how Lisa handled her grief whilst raising her, or does it maybe break like sort of perfect picture she's already got of Becky?
It's a really interesting one. Again, one that me and Vicky had so many conversations on. Um, because I think sometimes when people pass away, things can be idolized more. And I think this is one thing that we kind of said, is that before kind of that storyline kind of got introduced, is that growing up, was it kind of this bad cop, good cop thing? Not actually talking literally corruptness, like as in, did Lisa have to be the parent with the head screwed on and kind of have to play the bad cop? And Betty, as a child, you always like the parent that's the one that's going to let you go out, or that's going to let you do this, it's going to let you do that. So when this image is kind of tainted, I think Betty really painted Becky to be a saint, because it's so traumatic, and you don't want to think about the negatives when you've lost someone. So I think when it's kind of slap bang, that was kind of brought into reality, that might have been a prospect of what happened. That's heartbreaking for her, because I think she holds a lot of resentment. I think we've seen this to Lisa. I think she there's a lot of mistrust there. And again, I think talking about the relationship with them, I think if it's something that Lisa knew, I think that's heartbreaking for Betsy because all she wants to be treated like an adult, whether she comes across as an adult or not. She wants to be treated like an adult and she wants to be in on these conversations. So to find out kind of lie after lie, it's kind of it's frustrating for her. And they've got so many like communication issues, and that's why it's been really nice to kind of have like Carla in the dynamic because I think she's kind of filled in that bridge and like, right, you actually need to sit down and talk to each other and grow up. Because as much as like Betty's the child, Lisa can be a child sometimes. Like they're like two teenagers, like they're like sisters arguing. But I think that's just because it's been them for so many years. It's just been them two. So I think, yeah, it definitely. I think, and I think we see that coming up as they learn how to talk to each other, or they try. They are trying. So there's some really nice little bits coming up.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that. You can see that they're trying, but you can also see how frustrating it is, when you want to be in the know and you're like, this is actually concerns me more than anything else.
Yeah,
You can really
exactly.
see that.
Exactly. Really, there's some the good stuff coming up, and it's really well wrote. So I think people will be interested in that.
Oh no, I'm looking forward. We're all looking forward.
Yes. I
I
think that's why
wonder.
the
Oh,
line
go ahead.
from Carla, whenever, like in the reconciliation, after, like Betsy got shot, which again, I apologize for.
Your fault.
Um, it's so on me. Blame Amelia.
Yeah.
But like whenever like Lisa was saying, like, it's just been us two against the world, and Carla corrects her and she's like, actually it's us three against the world right now. I think that's why it's so powerful.
Yeah,
Because Carla sees Betsy as her own in a way, and it's beautiful.
100%. I think there's just this such beautiful dynamic between the three of them, and Betsy finally has someone that understands. And that's not to say Lisa doesn't, but when you they're both dealing with grief, you need that outside perspective of someone that's gonna. Carla's been there. Carla's dealt with a lot of grief in her life. So to kind of have that kind of middle ground of someone that's not biased to either way, and she fully understands Betsy, and also Betsy understands Lisa, so Betsy can be there for Carla as well, because there's so much Carla's still learning that Betsy's had to grow up with. So it really is this really interesting trio, and now four of us as well in the house. So yeah,
Yeah, I love that dynamic, and it just makes me wonder as far as how grief plays out, how much of Betsy's grief, how much is she emulating Lisa? Because Lisa had to take on Betsy's grief as well. Like she had to raise a child with this and had to be a mother as, raising Betsy in her grief. So it's just really interesting to kind of see that dynamic and see Carla, who again is not biased, who's somebody from the outside.
yeah, and have someone, I think, in both corners. She's in Lisa's corner, but she's also in Betsy's corner. Whereas when it's Betsy and Lisa, it's, well, I'm in my corner, you're in your corner. So to have someone that's kind of in both and is team both, um, is really nice. And even with the little stuff, like even when we had like Mason come round for dinner, and she's like, just right, calm down. It's a boy. Yes, it's a boy. I know we don't like men, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Gagged.
I know we don't like men, but
Iconic. Gagged.
oh, we have to have a soundbite of that now, please.
I was going to say Twitter's going to love that.
Twitter is going to love
They're just
that.
going to go mental.
So we have some fun audience questions for you.
Yay.
Amelia, you want to go first?
I can go first. Um, so whenever you're like preparing yourself for like very emotional scenes for Betsy, like for example, the hospital scenes in the knife crime storyline, how do you prepare and like how do you get into that like mindset of like I'm gonna have to like because like your scene of whenever Asha comes out and tells Betsy, like we lost Mason, like
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to say, you broke my heart. I was sobbing for a good hour
Oh.
because just your acting is just so real and raw. And just how do you get in that mindset?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and it was something I when I first come to do like my first emotional scenes, I was like, I don't know how to approach this. I don't know how to, and then I was like, right, stop. One, in kind of that storyline, I was losing my little work bestie in real life. Yes, not as horrifically as the storyline. Um, but I had to use that as kind of the driving force that upset me. He was one of my first friends there. He really took me under his wing because he's similar age, we're similar age in a similar world. And so I kind of had to use that. And then also it's a really unusual thing because I think sometimes not everyone understands that, although what we're saying is not real, what we're doing is not real, you're still feeling it. Your adrenaline's still up. It was a special episode so we had a little bit more time than usual. We got a little couple more takes than usual. So your stamina's high. I think in the episode with Jordan, we did it 8, 9, 10 times that scene, which that's not common on Corrie, but because it was a special episode, we wanted to get it just right and we wanted it to be technically perfect, whatever. So I think it's just allowing yourself to wind down after it, to kind of have an easy morning before it, and just use you as a human. I'm not someone personally that likes to dig too deep. I don't think in that environment that works for me. Sometimes that works for some people, but just truly being in it, the storyline made me emotional, and just kind of using that. It's a heartbreaking thing as well, and it was an adrenaline filled 2 weeks, and I kind of kept myself in this kind of bubble for 2 weeks, of right, this is my job. I want to tell this story well. I need to keep myself in this kind of mindset. It's such a massive thing in the UK right now. It's horrific. It's this epidemic of knife crime, and I wanted to get it right and to have a supportive director. A lot of it was Jordan as well. He would give certain things. He would find out what each person needed. Some people would be like, right, and he'd sit down a couple of minutes before a scene and be like, I just maybe use this, maybe use that, and he'd figure out individually what each people was kind of their trigger or what was safe for them to use. So to have him and just that supportive environment, it's just feeling safe, because it's a very vulnerable thing to do, acting. And I think as soon as you kind of ground yourself in a scene, you can find the emotional level it needs to be at. But I think particularly with that one, I used that. I was upset anyway, to be losing my friend, and use that as the driving force for it to happen.
I mean, your body doesn't really know whether you're acting or not, So
Yep.
it's do you do any particular thing to like decompress or like kind of wind down?
Yeah, you really have to. If we're filming quite like hectic things, like I don't sit in the green room. I'll go and have time to myself at lunch, because it's hard, and you do carry it with you, because like you said, your body kind of goes into flight or fight. It doesn't really understand what's going on, and you've really got to look after yourself and make sure you're fueling yourself, you're drinking enough, you're eating enough, because your body is running on pure adrenaline, especially because, like I was saying before, how quick we film things. Like you may do one scene like that. I remember I had to film the hospital scene, and then my scene after it was the date scene with him where we're making like the brownies and stuff. So I had 10 minutes in makeup, and when we were rehearsing the scene, they were scrubbing the blood from under my nails, and then had to bounce into the happy date scene 10
That juxtaposition is just,
it's
I don't know how you did it.
it's given me such an appreciation, and there's such a stigma around soap actors, and it makes me so angry, because I think they're some of the hardest working actors in the industry, and that's not just saying for myself, I'm talking about everyone that's in a soap. It is one of the hardest acting jobs you can do.
Absolutely.
Wholeheartedly, because no other thing 10 minutes later are you doing another scene, and that's applicable for all actors there. Is to have to bounce that drastically, because that was such a the date scene was such a cutesy little scene after, and I've just screamed down the corridor because he was dying, and it was a complete different director on a complete different unit with a complete different crew, and you've got quickly change into costume, let's do your hair nice, and literally as we were rehearsing, scrubbing the blood from under my nails, and then it's like, okay, action. And it's so fun. I love it because I love acting, but it's just about looking after yourself and giving yourself credit, because it's bloody hard, but we love it. We do it because we love it, and it's just made me have such an appreciation for people that have been doing this for like so many years. I'm like, I admire you, because I think sometimes they don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Absolutely. It is such a hard thing to do, and it must be quite like emotionally taxing sometimes.
Yeah.
But you can tell that you love it. Like,
yeah.
you can
I
really,
think you've got to love it.
you absolutely.
you've got to love it. But it's so worth it. It's so incredibly worth it, and
Yeah.
people work so hard, and it's a machine as well. It's not just the actors, it's the crew, all the different departments, production. I mean, we've got Kate Brooks, our producer's just fantastic, and she loves this dynamic, and we're really well supported, and you do really get looked after in that environment, even though it's a mad world. It's we're just little cogs. The actors are just little cogs in a big machine.
I'm a theater actor, but I want to like do like soap acting. Like that's why I said that like if you ever need like an American Swain, tell
Yeah,
like casting because
Here we
like that's
go.
one thing I want to do is like be on a soap. I
yeah.
want to be film on screen. Yeah.
Do
It
you
just
enjoy
seems like so fun. What is it?
do you enjoy theatre acting?
I do. I did theater in high school from well from seventh grade, so I was like maybe 12 to my senior year, so 18.
Amazing.
And my last show was Little Mermaid, and I got to be one of the sisters, and
I love
it was
that.
great.
I
Yeah.
I did a lot of theatre growing up as well, kind of in school. My last show was Alice in Wonderland. That was the last thing.
Oh, who did you play? Because that was my first ever show.
I was Alice.
I
But I
was the
thought
doorknob, so
that I was the main part in my final year. I was very lucky, but I had such great teachers, and I loved them.
yeah,
As soon as I got Corrie, I drove over to my high school, and I was like, let them know that I got it, and I was like, you are the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. I owe so much to my high school drama teachers. That's
yeah.
because that's where it all builds from, and that's how you. And it should
Mhm.
be like supported more, because I think sometimes there's not enough funding in state schools.
Definitely in America, we like the arts department, so like art, music, those things, a lot have been cut, and it's like
Crazy.
really devastating. It's really devastating. Yeah.
More. I wrote my dissertation on that, kind of how the support for working class actors, and little support that there is in some circumstances, and it's so vital, because we're not all the same. You know, some people are academic and they flourish in that environment, but some kids don't, and I think that needs to be recognised, and it's a great thing. You know, we rely on the arts so heavily. You know, you come home, you watch TV, you listen to the radio, go to museums, art galleries. Like we live and breathe the creative industry, and yeah, I'm really, it's something I'm really really passionate about. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, we just have a few more questions for you, Sydney. Julia, do you want to read your
Absolutely, I
question?
will.
Awesome.
Thank you. So this is another fan question, comes from Anna, and this is one: do you prefer playing like soft Betsy or more like angsty Betsy?
Ooh, hard. I think probably both. I enjoy both. I think the angsty Betsy is obviously so further away from me. And that's always an interesting one when I first started, because you've got to be confident. You've got to come on set when you don't know certain cast members, when I was new, and be this kind of like this confident character. That was tricky, because I mean, I'm quite bubbly, but I'm quite shy in real life. So that was hard in the beginning, to be able to. You have to really lose yourself in it, and yeah. But I would probably say I love when it's fun playing
Yeah.
the bright teenager, because I wasn't. I was an angel. Parents would agree. But yeah. So I think probably it's so far from what I was as a teenager. So I'd probably say I have the most fun with kind of like the sarcasm and the funny scenes. I really enjoy.
That makes sense. You get to kind of like let loose a little bit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I love like surprising people, like, and doing the line completely differently and throwing people off. I love doing that. I'm a horrible person. No, joking.
If you could change anything about Betsy, what would you change?
You know what? I wouldn't. I think there's so many layers to her, and she's done some questionable things, but I think that's what makes her her. And I think to have like, it would be really boring if every character was perfect and didn't make mistakes. And I think you know, I love watching like coming of age dramas, and I love watching people grow up, and I think it's really interesting to watch her grow up on screen. And I think with that's going to come mistakes, and of course they're heightened because it's a soap, so maybe the mistakes are a little bit bigger than you'd actually make in real life. But nevertheless, I love everything about her, and I will defend. I am Betty Swain's #1 defender.
She's literally just a girl. She's just a girl.
Just a girl standing in front of a, yeah.
Sydney, thank you so much for joining us. This has been great.
We've had so much
Yeah, it's
fun.
been lovely. Thank you.
No, thank you for chatting away with me. I've loved it.
No,
Um,
honestly, you are the best. Thank you
yeah,
so much. We've
yeah.
had such a good time.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to like our listeners and especially like your fans that are listening?
Just a massive thank you, you know, we love these characters and we put so much work into it, and to have people that are so invested in the storyline, and I see your theories, and I see you picking it, and I love it, and it's great though, it's fabulous. It's so nice to have that support, because it shows that you're just as passionate as us, and we're very, very grateful for that. The whole kind of Connor Swain family is very, very grateful for that, and yeah, so much love.
This is host Amelia.
I'm Shanika.
I'm Julie.
This has been Stateside Street, and you have all been fabulous.